I went home one day. I remember this very vividly. On YouTube, I pulled up the behind-the-scenes content of The Hobbit, the making of The Hobbit, which was a mess. But I would just watch the documentary, and every time somebody's name and a little title would come up in the bottom corner saying who they are and what their job is, I'd write down that job. And I made a big list of all the jobs that people had on film sets. I wanted to be a concept artist. That's what I wanted to be at the beginning of high school. And then I started making feature films in high school.
From Los Angeles, California, once again, this is Brett Gaffney. Welcome back to A Word Before We Leave. This is the show that's about you guys and about the stories that matter and bring us all together and connect us one by one. Today on the show, I have the lovely Jack Vento. Jack Vento is a Wisconsin-ite, and he talks about his journey from Wisconsin to Los Angeles and how he kind of figured out where he fit into the world. Jack is a filmmaker at heart. He works on the reality TV show The Bachelor, brought to you by ABC. This is not a sponsored podcast, by the way, but I just had to plug his work because we like to work here in Los Angeles, and we like to work hard. Jack is a lovable friend of mine that I met along the way, and he does talk a little bit about how we know each other, so I don't want to spoil too much. So without further ado, a word of support, and then the episode. Also, if you are used to listening to the podcast, you might notice that throughout the episode we mention a video camera. Well, this is now available to watch on YouTube at the moment of publishing. Feel free to enjoy the first recorded episode on camera if you prefer to watch video podcasts. Other than that, this has been Brett Gaffney, and now a word of support and the episode. Spotify listeners, the link in the bio on our Spotify page has a way for you to support the podcast, but we also appreciate just a nice comment or share or a rating on any of the apps that you're listening to, whether it's on iTunes, Amazon, PodChaser, or Spotify. You can now rate and share the podcast with the people that you love and help them understand other ways to understand themselves. This has been Brett Gaffney, and now the episode.
My name is Jack Vento, and welcome to A Word Before We Leave.
And my name's Brett Gaffney. Guys, welcome to the first recorded video version of the podcast. It's an experiment. If this works well, we'll have more video versions of the podcast. But for now, I wanted to talk with the great and lovely Jack Vento from Madison, Wisconsin.
I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
But you went to school in Madison.
Roommate Nathan, who's getting work done on his car right now, he's from Madison, Wisconsin.
Lovely.
Wait, no, that's not even true.
Really?
Riley Smeaton.
Riley Smeaton, the Wi-Fi password.
Shout out to Riley Smeaton, who is our Wi-Fi password, is from Madison, Wisconsin.
Fans of the show don't normally get to see exactly what the podcast looks like from like the video aspect. And now that we're giving them a visual cue. Yeah, that's right. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, you can access this full episode completely unedited. I mean, it's going to be a little bit edited, but this is the most like purest, rawest form of the show. Will be directly on YouTube. The channel is A Word Before We Leave. You can access this now on video. It will be available at the time of posting. So if you're hearing this over Apple or Amazon or Spotify, there is now a video choice to look at. And I think this will just help me get the podcast out to more people, market it a little bit better. But enough about the show's logistics. I want to talk immediately about you. So, Jack, if you could just start us off and tell us 2 to 3 sentences about who you are, where you're from, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, yeah. Well, my name's Jack Vento. I am currently residing in Los Angeles, California. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I work in film and television. I'm a movie buff. I'm a gamer. I'm a comic book guy. That pretty much sums it up. I love dogs. That has a lot to do with my energy. I'm a dog guy. There you go.
Cool. And to start the show off, we always do a segment called Word of the Day. And Word of the Day is brought to you by Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. It is not sponsored. And
Thank you, Merriam.
Thank you, Merriam. One day, they will sponsor the show. I've been putting it out there since the first episode. I've never used another dictionary, and I never will. Merriam-Webster Dictionary, if you're listening with us or watching with us today, please hit me up. I have a website, and you can find me easily.
What's the word of the day?
The word of the day is grudging. It is Grudging, And grudging is an adjective used to describe something that is said, done, or given unwillingly or reluctantly. It can also describe someone who is unwilling or reluctant to do something. Their example sentence is, her theories have begun to win grudging acceptance in the scientific community. And they also provided a second one, which is, a number of his former critics have become grudging admirers. And now you're going to come up with a sentence using our word of the day, grudging, and then I'll come up with one, and that'll be the segment, word of the day.
Could you read me the definition one more time?
Yes, I'll provide the definition one more time. Grudging is an adjective used to describe something that is said, done, or given unwillingly or reluctantly. It can also describe someone who is unwilling or reluctant to do something. Grudging.
Well, here's what I'm thinking of. I begrudgingly, or do I just say grudgingly?
Grudging. Grudgingly would work. Begrudgingly would add another form of variable to the word.
I grudgingly give Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, a negative review.
Swifties. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Jack's actually a huge Swiftie.
Yeah.
My girlfriend would be happy to watch this episode. She'd be like, oh my God.
Oh.
Shout out to Carly if you're watching.
Shout out Carly.
Okay, and my sentence will be, when my boss asked me to clean the room, I was grudging towards her in response.
Hey, where are you from? I was just thinking about the way that you said boss, but you said boss.
I said boss?
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas City. I have, as like a habit, because I'm an actor. So I've always done I think accents are really fun. And I've played a few New Yorkers and Bostoners in plays in college. And so I think I've picked up a cadence just because I like it better that way.
Uh-huh.
Where when I was playing a New York cop at a clown bar, I'd be like, boo, you're a goose.
Uh-huh.
And so sometimes I get that East Coast
Sure.
sound on the O's.
Okay. I tell you what, this was a tough word of the day.
Really?
Grudging.
Grudging, yeah. I've had some really rough ones. I've had ones where I was I had to reread the definition 3 times and I still didn't really get the gist of it. Okay. I think the one on the last episode, I couldn't tell you what it was, but with Israel Isaac, him and I struggled hard. We were like, what? I think it was qua. It was qua.
Qua.
And I still don't really understand what qua is. It's in reference to something that is the blanket statement of it, but also the person behind it.
Okay.
Qua. It's you say artist qua artist. That's how you use it.
Yeah.
But I still don't really get it.
Well, Merriam-Webster.
Merriam-Webster. Shout out to grudging.
Shout out to Merriam-Webster.
This is not sponsored.
No.
One day it will be. And now we'll move on to the questions if you're ready.
That's our live studio audience.
I can also hear a little bit of a plane flying over. The fans are dying to find us right now.
Yeah, they're looking for us.
We are indeed in Jack Vento's apartment, by the way. We are on his cozy couch. We've set the mood. We've dimmed the lights. And we got a nice background that we're looking at that we can't quote because of copyright.
Can't tell you about it.
But it is inviting and warm, and I like it.
Yeah, it's nice in here right now, actually.
It is nice.
It's a vibe.
Jack, what gets you back?
What gets you back, Jack?
What gets you out of bed every day?
Ooh, not much. That's a good question. And here's what I've been struggling with lately, is actually getting out of bed.
Really?
Yeah. Probably, maybe about the last, I'm on a pretty good streak. Do
you spend certain days where you're just in bed the whole day?
Yeah. Since moving to California, I've been out here for about a year. Ooh.
A year?
A year. Oh, let me turn that off. I am so sorry.
Totally fine.
How unprofessional of me. Since moving to California, I've been here for about a year and 3/4 now, I suppose. I work in film and TV.
Sure.
I'm a production assistant. I work primarily in reality television on ABC's The Bachelor franchise. And the work-life balance is tough. Because it's really non-existent. There isn't a work-life balance. It's either all work or it's all
life.
And by that I mean hopeless unemployment. because you just don't know when it's just going to pop up. So I've developed a little bit of a pattern since moving of one. So if I'm working for a while and then I'll go into a period of unemployment, and it became a cycle where I would just sink into a weird depressive episode where I won't get out of bed. I'll stay in bed until 4 or 5 p.m. and I could make plans with people. I could make plans with myself. I could be like, oh, I'm going to try to schedule a AMC A-list movie. Shout out A-list.
I'm also an A-lister. Guys, this is not sponsored again, but AMC A-list is the best way to experience movies in the modern day. This is like such a great take on streaming. Sorry to interrupt you, but I adore it. I mean, you get 12 movies a month for the cost of one movie, essentially, and that includes IMAX, Dolby. You get the recliners. You get bonuses if you get the snacks at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I just, AMC, if you want to sponsor this podcast now that we have a video version, come at me. I'll take a free AMC A-list subscription as sponsorship. Thank you.
We're going to have to pull the movie tab and set that aside. We're going
to have a whole movie conversation. I think that'll be a little segment.
Yeah.
But these episodes, you get these depressive episodes.
Right.
And you'd make plans, and would you not follow through, or?
Yeah, I would get up, like let's say I made plans to go see a movie at noon. Because I'm like, a movie's going to get me out of bed. I'd wake up in the morning at a normal 8 or 9. Wake up, cancel the movie. And then just go back to bed and just stay in bed for so long. And that kept happening to me. So a lot that I would usually say does get me out of bed in the morning literally has not been getting me out of bed in the morning. But I think we've turned a little bit of a corner.
Yeah?
Yeah, in because I'm in the same space now. I'm off of work. I've been off of work.
But you just got done working a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm at the very beginning of what would usually be one of the
start of the episode
cycles. And so far, so good.
You feel good?
Yeah, I feel really good.
I mean, you accepted me coming to interview you.
Yeah, I did. So I'm doing really good.
Yeah.
All other things aside, what does get me out of bed in the morning? Work. I've really loved working since moving to California. I have a blast doing all my little production assistant things. So I'm always ready to go to work. I'm always honestly having a great time at work. And more often than not, if I'm on the clock for 12, 13 hours a day, depending on the day, obviously, I'm always kind of ready for a little bit of overtime because it's really not like I'm genuinely having a good time. It's kind of like being a summer camp. It's kind of how I describe.
Yeah, being on film set is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially the big ones.
Yeah. So work gets me out of bed and is what got me out to California. So I'm really enjoying work, which is interesting because I don't know. Not a lot of people can say that. They're like, that's their...
That's the thing. That's the thing that gets them up.
I guess for us out here, a lot of people can because that's what a lot of us are doing. Something...
Yeah, something creative, something arts-driven. Because this is like... I think one of the best parts about living in Los Angeles is that it's the one city where if you said that you were doing a job that was art-centered, no one would question it. No one would be like, oh, how do you make money off of that? No one would be like... That's not a job.
Yeah.
That's a dream. Yeah. Because LA is essentially, what? The city of dreamers.
Oh, yeah. It's, La La Land.
It really is La La Land up here. Yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. And, sometimes you have your moment of dancing on top of the car in traffic.
Yeah. Every once in a while.
It happens.
You get a taste and you're like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you certify your weeks of unemployment. But it's all fun and games. What else gets me out of bed in the morning? I'd like to give a special shout out to my dog Cosmo.
Where is Cosmo?
Cosmo's back in Wisconsin right now. Cosmo is he's not very little. He's a normal sized dog. He's a poodle, a standard poodle. He's a very funny dog. He doesn't do a lot of moving. He doesn't do a lot of anything. He loves to sleep and sit around and follow my parents around. And I love that dog. I love that dog so much. So I'm very passionate about
Cosmo. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And you touched a little bit about the film industry and coming out here to do that. I wanted to ask you, growing up as a kid, what did you want to be? What did you want to do?
Oh, geez. Back in middle school, grade school, shout out Richmond Elementary School in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. Great school. Great school.
For an elementary school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're talking, top dog.
We did kind of go to public school during the heyday of public education.
For sure.
Like, if we were in public school now, it would be atrocious.
Yeah.
Teachers are underpaid.
Yeah.
There's not enough funding for education these days.
I'm going to be in a wedding in October, and there's 5 people in the wedding that I went to grade school with.
Really?
Yeah.
Still friends?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
you're in Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Pewaukee, Wisconsin. Richmond Chargers. When I was in that age, I knew I wanted to be an artist of some kind. Illustration was on my mind a lot.
Were you doing a lot of like doodles?
That's what I thought art was. It was never painting for me. It was definitely never ceramics. It was drawing and sketching, I guess. So that's what I wanted to be at that point. And then in high school, well, the movie thing has kind of always been going around in the background since about pretty young, actually. 5th or 6th grade, I would say, is when that became really concrete. So when I got into high school, I started to think more about what that actually meant. And, I wanted to know, what does having a job what is the actual job?
Yeah.
I remember going home one day and watching on YouTube. This is in high school, probably 2013, 2014. Awful semesters.
Was this
my freshman year of college?
Okay.
No. High school. Freshman year of high school.
You were a freshman in 2014?
2013. So
2013?
The fall of 2013, spring of 2014.
Got it.
That was my freshman year in high school. Shout out Warhawks. It's a great day to be a Warhawk. Every day is a great day to be a Warhawk.
We were Hawks, just the Hawks.
The Hawks?
Just the Hawks, yeah.
Like HAWKS?
Yeah. Olathe East Hawks.
Oh, okay. I went home one day. I remember this very vividly. On YouTube, I pulled up the behind-the-scenes content of The Hobbit, the making of The Hobbit, which was a mess. But I would just watch the documentary, and every time somebody's name and a little title would come up in the bottom corner saying who they are and what their job is, I'd write down that job. And I made a big list of all the jobs that people had on film sets. I wanted to be a concept artist. That's what I wanted to be at the beginning of high school. And then I started making feature films in high school with my buddies, including but not limited to, shout out Nathan Farrow, who lives here, but he's getting work done on his car right now.
Shout out.
I started making movies. I knew I wanted to make movies. So my job, I guess at that time, was like I wanted to be a director, sort of. And then I got to college, and they were like, why do you want to make movies? And I didn't really know. I never watched movies really growing up.
Really?
No.
Were you like TV shows, cartoons?
Books? I passively watched movies.
Sure. You weren't like dying. Did you have like a favorite movie growing up?
It was Star Wars and superheroes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's every young boy's dream.
Yeah. Like the MCU absolutely paved the way for me. Star Wars would have been the earliest, and then, MCU pops up, and that was my bread and butter.
Yeah, I love early phase MCU. New MCU, it's hard for me to swallow, but the start of it, I was like, oh god, this is cinema.
Yeah.
The film buffs out there are like, ugh.
Yeah, right.
Ugh, they're saying Iron Man's good.
Yeah,
it is.
It's
really good.
Iron Man is good. I got to college, and then I had to start thinking more critically about movies and what it actually meant to want to be a part of them. So, circling back to your question, what did I want to be growing up? I always wanted to be an artist, and in high school, that turned into wanting to be in movies. And then when I started thinking about college, it was always I was going to film school. Nothing else was ever really even part of the discussion.
When you were in film school, do you have any memories or stories that felt like it was a turning point where you were like, I think I'm going to move to Los Angeles? Like, what led to that decision?
What led to the decision of me moving to Los Angeles? There's a lot of... Looking back now, I can see all the dominoes, that tipped. But thinking specifically, what were some of the last dominoes that tipped? When I graduated from film school, when I graduated college in the spring of 2021, our graduation was a little slideshow online because of COVID. When did you graduate college? Did you
I
go to
graduated
college?
in 2022.
2022, okay.
I went to Nebraska, yeah.
Nebraska.
Cornhuskers.
Cornhuskers.
The Johnny Carson School of Theater and Film.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Johnny Carson graduated from Nebraska, and I actually had the same major and minor combination as him. He majored in theater performance, and he minored in broadcast journalism, and I also majored in theater performance and minored in broadcast journalism. Hence why I have a talk show.
Very interesting. Cool. When I graduated from college, I was living with my parents, and some of the people I knew in college were moving out to LA or had moved out to LA. I had a friend who was working on The Bachelor, and I knew that. I, at the time, was working at a big church, Elmbrook Church in Brookfield, Wisconsin. I was their broadcast and streaming video specialist. I directed video teams and edited their sermons for television. And then basically when I graduated, I said, all right, Jack, you've got a year. And in a year, you're either going to move from southeastern Wisconsin to somewhere. Wasn't necessarily LA.
New York, Atlanta, Vancouver.
Yeah.
A market.
Yeah, it was going to be Chicago, Savannah,
yeah,
New York.
Savannah's great.
LA.
You've been to Savannah?
I have.
It's awesome.
Yep.
It's great if you're going to grad school there.
Yeah. So I told myself I was either going to move away or I was going to move out of my parents and get a spot and get a job, probably in Milwaukee, something like that. So I gave myself a year to figure it out. I knew I just wanted to get the ball rolling on something. And then I started to think about moving to Los Angeles and who could I move to Los Angeles with. There were a couple different versions of that. Would there be any opportunities for me in Los Angeles? I'm not just going to go without having something sort of lined up.
Yeah.
So my friend Mackenzie was out here in LA working on The Bachelor. I let her know I was thinking about moving. Is there any opportunity for me to get involved with the show? She said yes. I said okay. I'll get out there in the summer, and that was it. So really, I just what got me out here was somebody being generous enough to give me a chance on the show, and I don't know. I just took it. Had to get something going. COVID was a weird time.
Yeah.
So we were inside for so long. Around those last 2 years at college, where I always thought that was going to be a good time for meeting a lot of people and getting ready to launch after college. But then COVID kind of stifled a lot of that. So Mackenzie kind of just gave me a shot. I just took it, I guess, probably with COVID in the back of my mind and knowing I just wanted to get going, Mm-hmm. So that's what got me out here.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here.
Well, I think this is a great little segue for us to do a little segment I like to call Wordplay.
Wordplay?
So what we're going to do is I'm going to count us down from 3, and we're going to try to say the same word at the same time, and we'll keep going until we get to the same word. More often or not, we don't start with the same word, but we'll get to that point.
Okay.
The rules are simple. Nothing in the room, nothing that you can see with your eyes right now. Don't repeat any words that we've already said in previous rounds.
Okay.
No talking about our words and why we said it.
Okay.
And try to avoid names because those get real tricky really fast.
Okay.
Any questions?
No. Hold for me drinking.
Holding. I'm going to think of something random, and when you say ready, I'm going to count us down.
Ready. What are you counting down from?
3. I'll say 3, 2, 1, and then we'll say it after 1. I
3,
won't say
2, 1, word.
Yes, bingo.
Copy that.
I got a word.
So do I.
3, 2, 1.
Egg.
Scrabble. Scrabble and egg.
So now we have to both think of new words?
Yes. Using our context clues, which is the previous round, usually.
All right, I'm ready.
We're just trying to get to the same word.
Yep.
Scrabble and egg. I'm thinking of a word. I got a word. 3, 2, 1.
Board.
Ice. Ice and board.
Okay. Stand by.
I got a word.
Well, my gears are turning.
I got a word. Definitely got a word.
Okay, I got a word.
3, 2, 1.
Custard.
Hammer and custard.
Yeah.
Hammer and custard.
Okay.
Hammer and custard. I got a word.
Hammer, custard.
Hammer and custard.
You said Scrabble.
Don't worry about it. Forget
Okay.
those previous rounds. We're on hammer and custard.
I'm ready.
Hammer and custard. 3, 2, 1. Lever.
Wrench.
Ooh. Lever.
Hey, that's
and
kind of close.
lever and wrench.
Yeah.
Lever and wrench. I got a word.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Tool.
Screwdriver.
Oh, I almost said that. I was thinking it. Tool and screwdriver.
Yeah.
No repeating anything we've already said as a reminder.
Correct.
Tool and screwdriver. I got a word.
Okay,
It just came to my mind.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Ruler.
Drill. Oh. Drill and ruler.
Yeah.
I got a word. Drill and ruler. I'm sending you the word with my mind.
Okay, I've got it.
Drill and
Wait, hold on.
ruler?
That was 2 words.
Drill and ruler. I'm sending you the word.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Glue.
Level. Oh. Glue and level?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it immediately.
Okay. You said level. I said glue.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, go.
3, 2, 1. Clamp.
Clamp. I froze.
I know you froze. That's why I
completely
waited to
froze.
say it because you had nothing.
I know. I'm
So
sorry.
I'm gonna go back. We're gonna go back to glue and level. Forget clamp. Don't say clamp.
Forget clamp.
Since you said nothing, that future round is null. Mm-hmm. Glue and level.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Tripod.
Cutting board. Cutting board and tripod.
Yep.
We're moving forward. Cutting board and tripod. I got it.
Cutting board. Tripod. Ready.
3, 2, 1.
Knife.
Easel and knife.
Yep.
Ooh, I got it.
Yeah. I'm
Easel
ready.
and knife. 3, 2, 1. Canvas. Bingo.
Let's go.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's
was
wordplay.
insane.
Everybody, Jack Vento got it in about 12 rounds. Everyone give him a round of applause. Yay! I've had some people that go for like 30 rounds, and I had a few people go for like 2 to 3. And every time that happens, I get so buzzy inside. I'm like, oh,
How was that performance?
it was good.
Okay.
That was really good.
I started to panic when we got into the toolbox.
I can always get us out of it.
Yeah, I started to go through the tools and I was like, I just couldn't do it.
I'm
glad we
surprised
got out of
we
there.
got to canvas from knife and easel.
Yeah.
Like I was afraid you were gonna say like paintbrush or like
Yeah.
paint or like what's the PBS? I thought you were gonna say PBS for a second.
Oh, okay.
I was like, because Bob Ross is on PBS and
Yeah.
he uses a knife
Yeah.
to cut the paint off
Hey,
the board.
we watched the Bob Ross channel. It's built into our Samsung TV thingy here.
How is it?
It's pretty good.
Relaxing.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
nice.
the
Yeah.
Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Got to
when I do
beat the
that.
devil out of it.
Okay, Jack.
Yep.
So you just got to Los Angeles.
Yep.
You have been working on and off of The Bachelor. You've had some depressive episodes.
Great.
Because of this.
Yep.
And now we're at the start of what would normally be an episode, but you're feeling good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
I wanted you to talk a little bit about how we know each other, so this might give some context to what led to this interview, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out Jack Schutte.
Jackie boy.
Shout out Jack Schutte. I met a boy named Jack Schutte on the set of The Bachelor. He doesn't work there anymore. Goodbye forever. But I do. I still work there. I met a boy named Jack. He likes movies. I like movies. Jack approaches me in October. Hey, I wrote a feature film script. Do you want to produce it? I said, sure. So then we started to do that, yada, yada, yada. We're going to need some actors to make this. All right. Let's get some. And then Brett Gaffney applied.
I auditioned.
I'm pointing at him.
I auditioned. They watched me on this TV that's behind you guys on the camera.
Yeah, Jack came over. We sat on the couch that we're sitting on right now. I sat where you're sitting. And we watched your little video. And Jack said, that's the guy.
That fast?
Actually, we did have a little bit of back and forth about it.
Really?
Originally.
Who was up for JJ besides me?
Jack Schutte wanted you at the beginning.
Like immediately. He was like, yep.
Yeah. And I wanted...
Did they even make it into the movie?
Yeah, Charlie.
You wanted Charlie to be JJ?
Charlie, who played Isaac.
He was really good as Isaac.
Yeah. I was really happy with our casting choices.
Once it was all finalized.
Yeah, once everything was all locked in, we actually started shooting. I was like, hey, this actually turned out pretty good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm real good.
Yeah, you did
I'm
great.
quite proud of my acting.
Yeah, Jack wanted to make a movie. We casted you. And the rest is history.
Yeah, we've finished filming. I think this is like maybe 2.5, 3 weeks out from the final day of set. Mm-hmm. And it was a very positive experience. A lot of us just did it for free, for fun. And
yeah,
it was, well, financially hard because I was on set for like 14 days in a row.
Yep.
For free. It was gratifying for the soul because last year the film industry decided to take a little hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
And it still kind of is in a little weird... It's in a slump, I'd say.
Yeah.
The streaming model has popped, supposedly. There's ads on streaming now. That's the end of streaming, as they say. Mm-hmm. So we're in this weird transitionary phase of, like, what does film and television look like as a job for the future?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk to you about that.
What does the film and television look like in the future? Because
I know you're somewhat of an optimist and a realist, and sometimes a pessimist. So I wanted to find where you're sitting now with the slumps not happening, coming off of that post, producing a feature movie.
Yep. And
now that it's in the vaults, it's being edited. Jack Schutte has started the edit.
Yep.
How do you feel?
I feel. Well, to be clear about the parts of the industry that I've had experience with, I work specifically in reality television,
TV.
which during the
probably not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's definitely not going anywhere. And during the strikes, it also didn't go anywhere. So
I'm a fictitious actor. I act in fiction.
Yeah, so for a lot of people, everything did stop during the strikes. But for me, thankfully, the ball kept rolling. I don't know. I don't see reality. Reality TV is going nowhere.
No, people love it.
Yeah.
People eat that shit up.
So I've never actually I worked on a feature. What I want to do is I want to be involved with feature films. That's what I want.
Me too.
Yeah. It sounds like the dream.
It literally is the dream. If I could be paid to be on set acting in a feature film, I would be literally living my dream.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten, since moving to LA, I haven't gotten on a feature set. I worked on a small, low budget feature back in Wisconsin before my freshman year of college. I think in between senior year of high school and freshman year of college, I worked, shout out, Small Town, Wisconsin, directed by Neil Gosh, you'll just have to look it up.
Is there a movie called Small Town Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's called. Yeah, the title of the film is Small Town Wisconsin, directed by a guy.
Blomkamp? Neil Blomkamp?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. I wish I could pull it up on Letterboxd. It's on Letterboxd.
You can pull it up right now.
Shout out Letterboxd. Find me on Letterboxd, jvento16.
I'm just Brett Gaffney.
I'm just Brett Gaff. I'm just a Niels Mueller.
Niels Mueller. Never heard of this guy in my life.
2020, 106 minutes.
So you PA'd on this?
Yeah, I was an art department PA. I did all sorts of art department. I did everything. So I was doing set dressing, props buying, props researching, everything. All the different parts of it. Which was kind of fun. But also a little scary sometimes. Because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was working for free.
What?
Yeah, well, there's a whole thing there. So I went to film school in Milwaukee, and can you hear that siren?
Yeah, it's fine.
I hope everybody's okay.
Studio City guys, sounds. This is part of Jack's space. This is a part of his life. He's going to hear these sirens all the time.
Shout out to whoever is in that ambulance going to save the day.
Yeah.
Shout out to our first responders.
Shout out
To our first responders. I don't want to get too derailed from your question.
No. Just a little segue. You worked on the thing for free. It was, let me guess, it was class credit.
No, it wasn't even class credit. It was the feature was in town, and they weren't paying.
They just needed students.
So they asked students, and in college we were told a lot that like you'll have to work for free if you want to get in the industry. You'll have to.
That's how you get your foot in the door.
Yeah, that's how you get your foot in the door. So that's it.
So back to the question. How do you feel?
How do I feel? Yeah.
Post producing QLC.
Yeah. I feel fine. Honestly. I think if you want to make movies, just make a movie. Like make one.
Yeah.
If you want to be a director, direct something. Then that it's that easy. So Jack wanted to make something. Just start by telling someone about it and asking them if they'd like to make it with you. And then you'll figure out what that means and what that's going to look like. That's from a very small space. I can say that looking at it through like the smallest lens possible and not thinking about the industry at all. So I think it's still easier than ever to be a filmmaker. From where I'm sitting, you're an actor, so it's a little bit different but you're also, I mean, you're here doing this. Yeah. It's easy. It's easier to create than it ever has been. If you have a little bit of money, of course.
I mean, I put investment into the show. But I'm not doing this because I want a return on investment, although it would be nice. I do this because I believe in the message of the show, and I believe in your story and all the other people's interviews, because I think life on this crazy, chaotic world that has politics and money problems and people that can starve in one country but thrive in another country, and health issues and careers and industries, and we have to live a life that's work-centered, at least in America. I think that doing a show like A Word Before We Leave helps me understand myself better, because to understand myself, I have to understand others, and it helps me alleviate my anxieties and worries when I talk to other people about how they view the world, because I truly do believe that everyone kind of lives in their own little movie. Mm-hmm. And everyone's their own main character in their own little movie. And if you can have like as many crossovers into other people's movies as possible, you actually get a more real picture of what the world's actually like, and not what the cell phone and the internet tell you that the world is. Because I think reality can be painted so differently, and there's so many things like algorithms and religion and governments that try to like dictate how the world is. Mm-hmm. But the world is this. Yeah, it's humans interacting with humans and talking. I think it's a word-based show because words dictate the future.
Word. Word.
And I don't know if you agree with that altogether, but you agreed enough to be on the show.
Yes. And I feel like watching movies is a way of living a slice of another life.
Yeah.
And, going to the movies is me taking in and trying to understand somebody else's perspective, and honestly giving that, like, really trying also helps me understand myself better. Like, the more I understand others, the more I understand myself.
Absolutely.
So I feel the same about watching movies.
I also feel the same about watching movies. That's why I love it so much, because the immersion can change me. Like, the message behind movies really does impact me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Circling back to where I think things are going, I got to bring up the artificial intelligence. How do I feel about artificial intelligence? I'm typically more pro AI than
most people in the film industry.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be more pro AI, are probably more pro AI than they give themselves credit for being. I don't think that audiences. I'm going to speak highly of general audiences, which is not something I do a lot. The general public can be very hard to sit with sometimes in movie theaters. I've had a lot of negative audience experiences as of late, actually. But the general audience, I don't think will accept, like, this movie is written by AI.
Yeah. I mean, think about some movies that have used AI in marketing. You could talk about A24's poster through Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And if you read the comments on that, I do kind of believe that they made those AI posters because they knew they'd get so much negative backlash and it would get more press about the movie, because there's no such thing as bad press. That's a fact. That is a fact. I studied broadcast journalism. That's a fact. Bad press is still press, and press gets the word out, and people will see what's the hullabaloo all about.
You just got to get people talking about it.
But you could also talk about that David Dastmalchian movie that used AI in the transitions, The Devil something something.
The Devil All the Time?
Yeah, Devil All the Time. They used AI in the transitions, and people walked out of the theaters. There was reports of, like, it's like the lowest reviewed movie of the year. Like, there's a lot of negative reactions to AI unless you're in the tech space, because you're excited about it. Like, all my software engineering friends are like, this is the future. Like, this is going to change the world.
Yeah, and I guess that's where a lot of my interest comes from it. Like, the integration of AI into consumer technology is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, to watch how that's changed and become a thing and then changed over the last, like, year. It's very interesting.
But it's also, it actually hasn't been profitable. A lot of AI integration into common spaces hasn't been profitable because AI as a thing is widely usable, but widely expensive to be usable at such a wide scale. And it costs a lot of power, like energy-wise.
Sure. I don't know enough about the resources behind it.
It's expensive. I know that.
I believe you. Artistically, I don't give AI too much
worry.
Yeah, because I don't know. Well, I don't like it being used artistically. Oops. I don't like it being used. I may have just ripped this cup holder out of the thing. Sorry, Nathan.
I think they seem pretty sturdy.
I don't know. I've used AI to, like, generate an image, and then I went, oh, that's cool, and then never thought about it again.
Yeah. It's just kind of silly.
If people want to use AI to generate some images, as long as you tell me this image was generated by AI, I don't care. I scroll past, thousands of images every day on my phone or look at them on the computer. I don't think about any of them for more than half a second. So eventually, I'm sure we'll have AI blockers, AI image blockers, like we have ad blockers and things like that, and you can just filter all the things that aren't real and all the AI advertising that's generated that's not real.
It'll just disappear.
Yeah, and then you can just I have a blocker installed on Chrome that just shows me only things that are real, made by people. That'll be a thing, I'm sure. So it'll be weird while it's all getting developed. And but I'm mostly kind of just excited to see where it goes.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a video. I don't know. I'm just excited to see where it goes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll watch cautiously.
And now I want to do one more segment, and then we're going to move into about 2 more questions. That's the show. Is that okay?
We could do 1,000 episodes. Shout out to whoever watches 1,000 episodes. Whoever watches this video 1,000 times, I'll give you $5.
Ooh. That will probably, if you watch this video 1,000 times, the algorithm is going to push it to somebody you know, and then they might watch it at least once.
Yeah.
And then they might be able to give this video
1,000 watches.
a like,
Oh.
A comment, and a share if you liked it. Also, just from like the audio podcast side, because most of my listeners are audio only, I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. You guys, this is ideally made for you. That's why we have such good microphones and such cheap camera.
My mama, she gonna listen probably to the audio side. Hey, mama.
It's easier. You can listen to it on the road while you're working.
For sure.
You don't need it. But for the people that want it on in the background as just like a passive video, this is for you. Jack Vento, this is what I call a new segment I've never done before, but because
It's called a new segment?
No, it's called Word Movie.
Oh.
And I'm going to say a word, and then you're going to associate a movie to that word.
Oh, let's go.
How do you like that?
I like that a lot.
Cool. Word movie.
Word movie.
Fire.
There will be blood.
Ooh. I'll probably say like 5.
Say as many as you want.
Okay, I might say 10. Board game.
Jumanji.
Eggs.
Cat in the Hat. I can explain. I thought of green eggs and ham, Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat.
Perfect. Leather.
I'm thinking of Power of the Dog. Did you see that movie on Netflix?
With Doctor Strange?
Yeah, with Benedict Cumberbatch.
And Spider-Man's girlfriend?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Bronco Henry. Is it Bronco Henry?
I have never seen the movie.
All right. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Barrett, if you're watching this, I think you know what I'm talking about. There's a part where he's just like very sensually holding this, like massaging this leather saddle. And that's what I thought of.
Next one is Flags.
I immediately thought of Civil War, like the movie that came out this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know. Flags.
I'll count it.
Sure.
Little Dancer.
Little Dancer?
Little Dancer.
I thought of Nutcracker, Mystery of the Four Realms.
I'll take it. Is that a real movie?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the title. It's Nutcracker something of the Four Realms. I watched it this Christmas. That bird in the Minecraft world is going insane.
He's doing his he's the little dancer.
Yeah, it's a Nutcracker movie that came out, I think, Morgan Freeman's in it, and Keira Knightley.
Great.
Broadband.
Yeah.
Broadband. Television. Nightcrawler.
Nice. That's a great movie. Linguini.
Fettuccine. Ratatouille.
Perfect. And I'll do 2 more.
Yeah.
Tennis.
I'm going to try to say something other than Challengers.
You haven't seen it, so it doesn't count. I've seen it. Great movie, by the way.
Tennis.
I actually gave Challengers 5 out of 5 stars.
Seinfeld. I'll say Seinfeld.
That's a show.
I know, but there's an episode where Jerry plays tennis.
Okay, fair. You could say he also plays tennis in the B movie.
B movie.
Bingo. And the last one, my word is going to be Captain.
Captain America.
Nice.
Hey.
The first Avenger, Civil War.
Captain America, the first Avenger.
There it is.
Can I throw a couple words your way?
Yeah, sure. I do like this.
Zombie.
Zombieland.
Poetry.
I mean, Dead Poet Society.
Guitar.
Almost Famous.
Pixar.
I would say Toy Story 2.
Shoes.
Forrest Gump.
Egg.
Ooh. I'm going to say Chicken Little.
Ooh. Good movie.
Great movie.
Lightning.
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Oh.
I was going to say Cars, but I was like, that's cheap.
I'm gonna give you three more.
Okay.
Summertime.
Meatballs.
Ooh.
Have you seen Meatballs?
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Red wine. 2 words.
The Goodfellas.
Country music.
Mud.
Mud. Okay.
With Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, nice. That was fun.
Give me one more. I just want one more.
Yeah.
Because you gave me 9.
Couch.
Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
Never seen that.
Really?
Yeah.
The whole, first 30 minutes, they're just sitting on a couch.
Nice.
Talking about weed.
That's funny.
Okay, and now the final 2 questions, including the final question on that last one. Jack, if you were 80 years old, what do you think 80-year-old you would tell to you? I'll leave it at that.
I would remind myself that it's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the dog.
That is awesome.
That's what I would tell myself.
80, and essentially, you don't need 80-year-old you to tell you because you just told yourself.
Yeah, I could tell myself that now.
That's why I asked that question.
But if I was 80,
yeah,
I would say it again.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I'd be older
and wiser,
and I'd have a lot more experience, and it would probably take on some kind of new meaning.
And now I'm curious, before I say the final question, what would you say to 8-year-old you? Would it still be the same thing? Like if you went back now.
Yeah. What am I going to say to 8-year-old me?
It won't mess up the timeline, I promise.
For sure. I would tell him a couple things. I would tell him to hold on to the GameStop stock a little bit longer. I'd tell him to write that down and tell Dad, and then just forget about it until the time comes. And I would tell him Legos are cool. Don't keep up the Legos. I would tell him there's a whole thing going on here. Yeah, I know you know what I'm saying. I would tell him I feel like I had a lot of tummy aches as a kid. I'd tell him, don't worry, that gets better. And I would tell him, yeah, that was pretty good.
Jack Vento, would you care to share a word before we leave?
For sure. A word before we leave.
And you understand the premise of that?
Yeah, I do. That's a tough question. It's not even a question, though. It sort of is. A word before we leave. Well, I already said the thing about the dog. I think it's all about just putting yourself in someone else's shoes. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, just think about others. And do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. As, treat others the way you want to be treated. I think when it comes down to it, that's honestly the golden rule. I guess if you want to be treated nicely, if you're kind of into being,
you like being bullied.
If you're into that sort of thing, don't follow that rule. But if you like good, being nice, treat others the way you want to be treated. I think if we just thought more about our neighbors, we'd all be a little bit better off, perhaps.
That's why I do the show.
Yeah. And follow me on Letterboxd, Vento16.
Is there anything else you want to plug before I say our thank yous and close out the show?
I'd like to plug Arrowhead Union High School. I'd like to plug, shout out to Riley Smeaton.
Wi-Fi password.
Shout out to Riley Smeaton, the Wi-Fi password. Shout out to Brett Gaffney for throwing this together. I had a great time, Brett. This was fantastic.
I wish it's very hard to get people to be on the show. And I'm like, I can interview anybody. The whole gist is that anybody has a story to tell. Everyone has a story to tell.
For sure.
Like, you watching, you could be on the show. You could be on the show. My biggest pet peeve is when people ask to be on the show, which is ironic because I have a hard time finding people to be on the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are like, I would love to be on A Word Before We Leave. And I get very turned off to that because it's like, I want to discover the story. I don't want the story to discover me.
Mm-hmm.
But I am open to the people that want to be on the show. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. It irks me.
Hey, man.
Like, it feels like their ego's leaking through, and I'm like, this show's egoless.
Well, yeah. Sure, no, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
But thank you for letting me interview you.
Anytime.
Thank you for being willing to be on microphone and camera.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm just going to say some quick thank yous, and then I need to close a door physically to end the show.
Okay.
And thankfully, there's a door right behind me.
I got a couple here that you could use. One of them's on camera, maybe.
First of all, I want to say thank you to you guys, the listeners and watchers, the audience of the podcast. I literally make this for you. If one person listens to it, that's all that matters. And if you like that, I'm talking directly to you who's listening to it right now. Share this with somebody that you love, somebody that thinks could benefit from the lessons and stories, or just wants something that's nice to put on in the background. I think A Word Before We Leave is digestible and easy and light. And I think I want to keep it that way. But again, thank you to the listener. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been involved for the interviews of the show. But more importantly, I want to say thank you to my family for supporting me and for loving me. And I want to say thank you to my new girlfriend, Carly, because you're awesome. I also want to say thank you to Jack Vento, Jack Schutte, Kelly Fitzgerald. I want to say thank you to everyone that's been a part of the QLC movie. I wouldn't be as happy as I am right now without you guys. I want to say thank you to many, many others, but to save time, I'll just know that you watching and you who've been a part of the show are very deeply cherished in the bottom of my heart. Maybe one day we can all see this show rise to the peak of the best podcast on earth, but for now, I have it here, and that's what matters, because that's life. This has been Brett Gaffney and
Jack Vento,
and you just listened to A Word Before We Leave. And maybe you too can go to a movie theater today.
Maybe you too can go to the movies today.
And now I just gotta close the door.
Okay. Bye.
And that's it. That's a wrap. Pause. I said pause.